Hello everyone, it's Kayla, or as you may know me, the Tall Twig. I thought that I would make a little Q&A video about Brave Little Bones, which is my poetry collection that's going to be coming out in the fall, which I'm super excited about. And so I thought I would take a few questions from people on Twitter and Tumblr and take the time to answer some of them about the Brave Little Bones process and just self-publishing and writing in general. So let's dive right in. Our first question comes from Sydney, and she asks, how does one figure out if they want to self-publish? What are the questions they should ask themselves? I think one of the most important questions to ask yourself is, are you really ready to self-publish? And I think that honestly will come from listening to your gut. So I actually listened to my gut when I was thinking about self-publishing a book actually about a year and a half ago. I thought that having it all together, I would be feeling like I was ready to publish it, but when it came to actually hitting that little publish button, I couldn't do it. And I had no idea why, but I just knew that I had to follow my instincts, and I'm so glad that I did, because I know that I wouldn't have been able to put out a final product that I would be as happy with as I know I will be with Brave Little Bones. Another thing you can ask yourself is, are you really ready to commit the time it takes into self-publishing a book? How self-publishing is a little bit different than publishing is that you do all of the promotion work yourself. So you really have to be able to put in the time towards different social media platforms and reaching out and building communities with your target audience and niche in mind. One of the reasons why Hannah, my illustrator, and I decided that we wanted to self-publish was because we could have full creative control of our final product. Now the second question comes from Mint Chip Ice Cream, which by the way is my favorite kind of ice cream, and ice cream is my favorite kind of treat, so you go girl, I love the username. She asks, do you have a favorite piece of work in your book, or is the whole book just incredible? What do you think? Of course I'd like to say that the whole entire book is going to be incredible, but at the same time I'm a little biased because it's mine and it's my baby. So I think once we get the feedback and the reviews from you, we'll really be able to see just how incredible it is. As far as my favorite pieces in the book goes, I don't really want to try to divulge too much, but I think as a little teaser I can say that I am awfully fond of how I've decided to both start and end the book. And I'm just super excited about especially the ending, because I think it's going to end on a really, really awesome note. Our next question comes from Leia Lay, and she asks, when I write, I always get that unsatisfactory feeling like there could be more to it. How do you get a complete story or poem? How do you know when to finish? Now this is definitely a loaded question. I think that there's a lot of writers that get that unsatisfactory feeling, and I definitely want to say that don't take it out on yourself that you feel that way sometimes, because I think all creatives do, because we're all battling self-doubt every day, and especially when we share our work, whether it's in print like we're going to be doing or online, it can be really, really difficult because we're not only getting judgment from other people, but we're also judging ourselves. But if you just keep fighting that unsatisfactory feeling, it's going to turn into something good. I can absolutely promise you that. Now to answer your second question on how do you really know if something is finished, I think that's a little bit of a harder question for me to answer because I actually never really see my poems as finished. I really like to be able to look at them as a work in progress. And why I do that is because I think that all poems are always able to be edited to be even better than they are at that moment of time. And I think as writers, we're all just evolving, and so for our poems to be able to evolve too, we have to be willing to edit and be able to critique ourselves and also take critiques from other writers that we admire. But I think one of the hard parts about feeling like you can't finish something is because a lot of times we get these grand ideas and they're awesome and they're cool, and we just want to write about it and have it be perfect and be able to write about it in one sitting. But a lot of times that's not what happens. Our brains don't really work that way, unfortunately. Sometimes we have to be willing to put it aside for a little bit and be able to come back to that work. So definitely keep trying to battle that unsatisfactory feeling, because I know that if you keep doing it, it will go away. And for your poems, there's always room for growth. So just be willing to take that in stride and be willing to make it even better than it is now. Our next question comes from Colin, and he asks, are you going to be using a service like Lulu to get paperback copies of books. Right now, my illustrator and I are thinking about doing a service kind of like Lulu where you're able to self-publish online through them, and then they also put it on to Amazon, which is really cool way to be able to sell your products online. If I could, I really would love to be able to hand make all of them and make them really personalized, but unfortunately with being a student and having 2 jobs and having another blog other than my poetry blog and just being a busy person in general, which I'm sure all of you guys can relate to, it's very difficult to have the time to really be able to meet that demand that I hope we're going to have with this book. So self-publishing through something like Lulu, a book service, is going to be really great for us, and we're super excited about it, and we're still kind of researching to see exactly which one we want to partner with, but yeah, it'll be exciting, and we'll definitely let you guys know once we've decided. Our next question comes from Persopography. I think that's how you say it. How do I write happiness? I can only write sad memories. I think as writers, we all write a little bit more about sadness than happiness, because in those sad periods of time, that's where we most grow. And a lot of times we write poetry about how we've evolved as people. And I feel like in this video, I've been saying evolve a lot, but it's just something that I truly believe. And I think that in these sad times, we really reflect back and look at how we've really grown into the people that we are. And in the happy times, it's not as easy to do that, because I know for me personally, when I write happy things, a lot of times I feel like I'm kind of going after some kind of cliche. So it's very difficult to be able to produce a piece that is very happy, that sounds a little bit more unique, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. So I have a challenge for you. Think about the most happy times in your life and be able to write down all of the emotions that you felt all at once. And I think if you're able to pick out those unique details of those moments, it won't feel so cliche, and it'll be a little bit easier to write about, because you'll be so happy to share that moment with the world, because you're also uncovering it for yourself again. And so I think that that might be a cool way for you to write about happiness a little bit more. All right, our last question comes from Electrified Badger. Have you always liked your writing? Or did it take time for you to develop your own style that you enjoy? For the most part, I have liked my writing, but I did go through a really tough stage actually last year, which was really difficult on me, which was when I declared my creative writing minor and I actually started to take some poetry classes at my college. And I was really excited going into it, but the poetry classes definitely challenged me in ways that I never thought would happen. And I thought that in high school I had found my style, but I really didn't, because now I feel like I look at my poems and I can tell from all the comments that I get from other people as well that my writing has just completely turned upside down, you know, but in the best kind of way this past year. So I am now grateful for those tougher experiences, because they've made me the writer that I am today, and I don't think I would be as proud of all of this work that I've been putting into Brave Little Bones if I didn't go through some of those tougher times. And especially since when I was putting together Brave Little Bones, I was going through it at the same time. So you can really see the progress and even some of the struggle through this book. And I mean, that's what Brave Little Bones is all about. I think what I'm most excited about with publishing this book is that people are just going to be able to hold my words in their hands. And I know right now I don't know exactly what that feeling is going to be like, because I don't have a prototype in my hands, but I just have a feeling that it's just going to be absolutely incredible. A lot of times I was feeling like, oh, I'm kind of young to be putting this book out, and there's still a lot I know I have to grow as a writer, but we're always growing, and I think that that's a good thing. And I know that my first collection is going to show a lot of that, and my heart and soul is just really in this collection, and I'm so excited that you've watched this video, and so now you know a little bit more about the Brave Little Bones process and self-publishing and writing and all of that as well. So if you want to ask me any additional questions, please do in the comment section below. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you later. Tall Twig out.